This is 11 Accelerated Vocabulary, Unit 4. First word is affable. Affable is an adjective. It means courteous and pleasant, sociable, easy to talk to. So somebody who's just very nice, very agreeable. And that picture, the cat, the dog, and the bird are all getting along. They're all very affable. So your friends, they're your friends because you get along with them, that you think they're nice, so they're also affable. Mickey Mouse is, I guess, a good example of affable as well. Someone who's very courteous, very pleasant, and sociable. Aggrandize is a verb to increase in greatness, power, or wealth. To enhance. So Popeye is in the picture. Popeye is eating spinach. To aggrandize, to increase his strength. If you invest your money, you're also hoping to increase your money. Increase the power of the army, you add more soldiers, so you're hoping to increase the power there, hoping to aggrandize, to enhance. Amorphous is an adjective, shapeless without definite form, of no particular type or character. So you have the picture there of an amoeba. An amoeba is amorphous. There's no shape. It just kind of like a little blob that moves around. Someone who's trying to fit in everywhere. So someone who kind of changes to fit in no matter where they are. So if you think about morph equals change, amorphous, they're trying to change, they're trying to fit in. So shapeless, it could also be, I don't know, maybe if those of you who play sports, maybe your defense is amorphous. There's no like shape or structure to your defense, so the other team scores a lot of goals. Aura is a noun, that which surrounds as an atmosphere, a distinctive air, or personal quality. So it's like the air that's around the person. So it's kind of like the vibe or the feeling that they give off. So maybe somebody is really nice and happy all the time. They have like a pleasant aura to them. Or it could be the opposite. Somebody's like always rude and mean and grumpy, and you kind of get that feeling, that vibe, that aura from them as well. Contraband is a noun or an adjective. So a noun, illegal traffic, smuggled goods, or as an adjective, it's something that's illegal or prohibited. So drugs, weapons. Cell phones used to be contraband in school, but now you can use your cell phones to produce some really great work, because I know that's how you use your cell phones in school. Next word is erudite, adjective, scholarly, learned, bookish. So somebody who's very smart, somebody who's very intelligent, scholarly, the top 10 students at school, someone who has their PhD, a college professor. Those are all good examples. Next word is gossamer. Gossamer can be an adjective or a noun. Looking at the, I don't know, what is that, like the shade, not the shades, but the curtains or whatever that is, that's very gossamer material. So it's very thin, very light, very delicate. As a noun, it's just a thin, light, delicate cloth. So something that's very sheer. Lace, gauze, butterfly wings are also very delicate. Infer, a verb, to find out by reasoning, to hint, suggest, imply. So to surmise, to make an educated guess. So it is a guess. You don't have the facts to support it, but you're making that educated guess. You're kind of finding out by reasoning, or maybe just hinting or implying something. So I'm going to imply that I think you cheated on the test, but maybe I have no evidence to support it, so I won't come out and say it. I'll just suggest that I thought that that's what happened. Inscrutable, adjective, incapable of being understood, impossible to see through physically. So if you have a good poker face, maybe you're incapable of being read. Nobody can understand or try to figure out, no one can figure out what you're thinking. It could also be literally to like see through physically. Insular, next one, adjective, relating to, characteristic of, or situated on an island. And you have that island there in your photo. Or it's someone who's narrow or isolated in their outlook or their experience. So we had that word provincial before. So someone who's very narrow-minded, so they're not open to other people's ideas or opinions. Irrevocable, adjective, incapable of being changed or called back. So it's something that is irreversible. Some decisions that you make are irreversible. They're irrevocable. You cannot take them back. You make the decision to drink and drive and get into a car accident. That's irrevocable. You can't change that. You say something awful to a friend in an argument, and that's something that's irrevocable too. You can't take that back. You can't change it. Propensity, we talked about this, I forget what unit, with proclivity. I think it was just unit 3. But propensity is the same thing. So you have a natural inclination or a natural tendency to do something. That's the one where I asked you to touch your chin when you, or to see how many people touch their chin when they define what a goatee is. That's your natural propensity, your natural proclivity to do something. So some people are naturally talented maybe with art, music, sports, whatever it might be. They have that natural propensity. Querulous, adjective, peevish, complaining, fretful, and I think we had that word petulant before, which is one of your synonyms. So same thing, you get irritated or upset very easily, and I think Stewie also came up as an example when we had petulant, but you're easily irritated, easily upset. Remonstrate, verb, to argue or plead with someone against something. So you have the soccer players there arguing against a call that the referee made. So they're arguing, they're pleading against him. You can also, some examples here are to talk someone out of doing something. So to talk someone out of drinking and driving, doing drugs, or dropping out of school, you try to remonstrate with them. You try to plead with them to not make that bad decision. Repudiate is a verb, to disown, to reject, or to deny the validity of. So to disown something. It's a terrible example, but in the cartoon there, I can't read the top part, but the last part he says, I have no son, so he's disowning, he's repudiating his son and just rejecting him. Divorce is another example, maybe not divorcing the child, but divorcing the spouse, so you're kind of rejecting or disowning any relationship with that person anymore. Resilient is an adjective, able to return to an original shape or form. So the first part of your definition, you have that elastic band, you stretch it out, you let it go, it's resilient, so it returns to its original shape or form. The second part of the definition is able to recover quickly. So somebody who recovers from a setback, an athlete who's resilient recovers from an injury quickly, a child who's resilient recovers from an illness very quickly. Reverberate is a verb, to re-echo, to resound, to reflect, to be reflected repeatedly, to resound. So a sound reverberating down an empty hallway or in a canyon. The light off of a mirror, the light will reverberate and will be reflected off of the mirror. Next word is scurrilous, adjective, coarsely abusive, vulgar, or low, especially in language. So somebody who's very obscene, filthy, or sometimes abusive or vulgar in their language. Someone who swears a lot, if you're familiar with Cat Williams, that's a good example. Sedulous, adjective, persistent, showing industry and determination. So somebody who's not going to give up. Somebody who's sedulous is going to work hard and not stop and not quit. They're going to continue working and they will not give up. So a valedictorian is a good example. Valedictorian has worked hard throughout their school career, their high school career, to achieve that number 1 spot at graduation. They're very sedulous, very determined. Sleazy, there's a good picture for you. Adjective, thin or flimsy in texture. So that definition, it can be like a material that's very sleazy, something that's very cheap. You know, if you buy a shirt and it's made out of cheap material, you wash it once and it starts to fall apart. So it's made out of sleazy material. Sleazy can also be someone who is ethically low, mean, or disreputable. So you have like the sleazy car salesman or the sleazy guy in the picture trying to sell you what I'm sure he will tell you is a real Rolex. And that is it for 11 accelerated vocabulary units.